If you opened your bank statement right now, you might find $100 quietly disappearing every month. Not because you're reckless, but because you're subscribed. And I was too. I was losing over $100 every single month. And I didn't even realize it. Not on shopping, not on luxury, just on subscriptions. I still remember when apps used to be free. You'd download something, and it was just there for you. No trial countdown, no upgrade to premium. But today, almost every app whispers it's only $9.99 a month. And that word only is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Because $9.99 a month doesn't feel like a big deal when you're tapping confirm payment on your phone. It doesn't even feel heavy when it's deducted automatically. It doesn't even feel real. But on paper, it tells a completely different story. And that's what I want to talk about today: financial minimalism. But not in a dramatic sell everything you own kind of way. I'm talking about something more practical. The tiny subscriptions, the small automatic payments, the quiet $9.99s that slip out of your bank account while you're busy living your life. Because modern smartphones have made it dangerously easy. One-tap payments, Face ID confirmation, auto renewal, monthly deductions that happen in the background. You don't even feel this loss until you look at your bank statement. And that's where everything changed for me. For a long time, I was doing what most of us do. I'd get my credit card bill, glance at the total, I'd pay it, and then I'd just move on with my life. I wasn't reckless. I wasn't overspending on luxury items. I wasn't buying designer clothes every month. But I was subscribed. Subscribed to convenience, subscribed to entertainment, subscribed to just in case, and subscribed to the things I forgot I was subscribed to. The first real step I took was simple but uncomfortable. I opened my bank statement, not just to see the total, but line by line. Every recurring charge, every automatic deduction, every tiny amount that I had mentally dismissed as not a big deal. And I remembered that uncomfortable feeling because $9.99 didn't feel like much when it was charged on a random Tuesday. But when I saw 4 different charges in the same month, plus the 3 $19 charges, plus the 2 $5 charges, it added up to a number that was no longer small. When consolidated, these tiny subscriptions were quietly draining a significant chunk of my income every single month. And the worst part is, I wasn't even fully using most of them. That realization was the beginning of my financial minimalism journey. Not dramatic, not extreme, just intentional. I didn't wake up to cancel everything overnight. Instead, I created a gentle but strategic process. I made it a non-negotiable habit to open my bank statement every single month. Not to judge myself, not to feel guilty, just to observe. I treated it like a quiet financial check-in, a soft audit, and a moment of clarity. And something magical happens when you consistently look at your numbers. They stop being abstract, and you begin to see the patterns. You notice that every app you swore you needed, but haven't opened in 3 weeks. You notice the subscription you forgot to cancel after the free trial ended. You notice how convenience has slowly become a luxury. Then I categorized every subscription into 3 simple groups, and this is where the truth revealed itself. Essential meant, if I cancel this, my daily life genuinely becomes harder. This includes things like core utilities or tools directly tied to my work. Useful meant it adds value. I use it consistently, but technically, I could survive without it. And then came the third category and the most honest one: ego, convenience, or forgotten. This category held the subscriptions I paid for because, well, everyone else had them. They made me feel productive because I didn't want to miss out. Canceling felt like downgrading, or I simply forgot they existed. And that's where the money was hiding. When I saw how many apps fell into the third category, I understood something deeply uncomfortable. I wasn't paying for the need, I was paying for an identity, for the idea who I wanted to be. The hyperproductive person, the person who watches every trending show, the person who has all the premium features. But minimalism allowed me to ask a question: who am I really? Not who I aspire to be through these subscriptions. The final step was simple. I cancelled. Without guilt, without overthinking, without maybe I'll need it someday. And I truly felt relieved afterward. Not deprived, relieved. Because every cancelled subscription felt like reclaiming a tiny piece of financial freedom. Now, this is personal, and everyone's life is different. But here are a few subscriptions I personally believe you don't need. This one is controversial. I love movies, I love series, and I love storytelling. But let's be honest, it's almost impossible to keep up with every streaming platform today. New shows are released constantly, every platform has exclusive content, and the fear of missing out is real. But the truth is, you don't need access to everything at the same time. I remember when the Housemaid adaptation was announced. I had read the book and absolutely loved it. Naturally, I wanted to watch it immediately, but it wasn't available on any of my active platforms. Old me would have subscribed instantly, but this time, I asked a friend if he had access. He did, and he shared it, and I watched it peacefully at home. And that moment taught me something powerful. Access doesn't always require ownership. You can rotate subscriptions. You can share with family. You can watch one platform for 3 months and then switch. You don't need 5 active streaming services draining your account every single month. This might upset some people, but productivity apps often sell you the feeling of productivity, not productivity itself. Color coded dashboards, aesthetic planners, habit streak counters, focus timers. And yes, they look beautiful. But ask yourself honestly, are you more productive because of them? Or do you just enjoy organizing your life digitally? For me, the simplest tools work the best. The built-in Notes app, the Reminders app, and the basic Calendar app already on my phone. They're free, they're simple, they sync automatically. And when something feels overwhelming, I grab a pen and paper. There's something so grounding about physically writing a note, sticking it on the fridge, and crossing something off with a pen. And sometimes, minimalism truly means trusting the tools you already have. This applies heavily on AI apps. AI can be incredibly useful. I personally use tools like ChatGPT for SEO ideas, brainstorming, or refining my content. Yes, sometimes the free version limits the messages. Yes, sometimes it asks you to upgrade. But here's the question: are those limitations actually harming you? Or are they just mildly inconvenient? Waiting a few hours before sending more prompts is not a crisis, and having limited features is not a disaster. If the free version gets the job done, even at 70% capacity, that might be enough. We've become so accustomed to instant, unlimited access that any boundary feels unacceptable. But financial minimalism invites patience back into your life. You don't need premium everything. You need what works. I truly believe journaling is powerful. But digital journaling, for me, it never felt the same. Yes, the app allows you to attach images, add tags, keep everything neat and organized. But the beauty of journaling lies in its messiness, in the trembling handwriting, in the ink smudges, in the crossed out words, and in the rawness of a page that holds your emotions without editing. There's something sacred about pen meeting the paper. No subscriptions can replicate that feeling. If you have ever written your thoughts in a real notebook during a hard day, you know exactly what I mean. Digital journals may look pretty, but healing doesn't need aesthetic formatting. It needs honesty. This journey wasn't about saving money just for the sake of saving money. It was about alignment, about making sure my spending reflected my values. When I reduced my subscriptions, three things happened. My monthly expenses dropped significantly, my financial anxiety reduced, and I felt more in control. There's a quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly where your money goes. And beyond the numbers, there's something even deeper. When you unsubscribe from excess, you unsubscribe from noise, from constant stimulation, from endless content, from the pressure to optimize every second of your life. You begin to slow down, you consume less, and you appreciate more. Because sometimes, the most radical thing you can do in a world built on subscriptions is to simply cancel and realize that you were already enough without the premium version. So before you leave, I'd love to know, is there one app you're still paying for that you haven't opened in weeks? Or a subscription you recently canceled because it was just in case? And if this video made you pause and rethink even one small payment, I'd love for you to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon.